Today, we are going to be taking a look at 10 amazing game franchises that need to be revived.
Dino Crisis.
Starting with number 1, we have Dino Crisis. Capcom's Dino Crisis franchise is often described as Resident Evil but with dinosaurs, blending survival horror with prehistoric mayhem. It offered tense gameplay, puzzles, and a gripping narrative, all set against the backdrop of a dinosaur-infested research facility. The first game, Dino Crisis, which released back in 1999, introduced players to Regina, a red-haired special agent tasked with containing a crisis involving dinosaurs. The sequel, Dino Crisis 2, released in 2000, which shifted towards a more action-oriented approach while maintaining the core suspense. And both games were met with critical and commercial success. The series took a disastrous downfall with Dino Crisis 3, released in 2003, which for some reason moved the action to a futuristic setting in space. I'm not really sure what they were thinking there, to be honest, but the change in tone and poorly implemented mechanics alienated fans and critics alike. Unfortunately, after the disastrous Dino Crisis 3, Capcom decided to shelve the game, not seeing a future in the franchise. Despite being dormant for more than 2 decades now, fans have been vocal about wanting a remake or a reboot, particularly given Capcom's success with the Resident Evil remakes. Regina remains an iconic character, and a return to the franchise's survival horror roots could captivate a new generation of players for such an old franchise. I remember playing this game a long time ago when I was younger, and I can remember how awesome I thought this game was and also how terrifying I thought this game was.
Electronic Arts and DreamWorks Interactive present Medal of Honor.
The second game on this list is Medal of Honor, one of the first franchises to bring cinematic storytelling to the first-person shooter genre. Medal of Honor focused on World War II combat and earned praise for its immersive campaigns. The series debuted in 1999 with the first game developed by DreamWorks Interactive under the guidance of Steven Spielberg. Titles like Medal of Honor Allied Assault in 2002 became benchmarks for World War II shooters, influencing franchises like Call of Duty. Unfortunately, attempts to modernize the series with Medal of Honor in 2010 and Medal of Honor Warfighter in 2012 failed to resonate with audiences. The campaigns felt uninspired, and the multiplayer was overshadowed by competitors like Call of Duty and Battlefield. And, I mean, Medal of Honor Warfighter released in 2012, which just happens to be the same year that Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was released, so they had to compete with that. In 2020, though, Respawn Entertainment released Medal of Honor Above and Beyond for VR platforms. While it had moments of brilliance and a focus on historical accuracy, the game suffered from technical issues, a lack of polish, and a mixed reception. But despite its decline, Medal of Honor remains a well-liked franchise. A properly executed revival, possibly returning to the World War II roots, could bring the franchise back into the spotlight and potentially could start competing with Call of Duty and Battlefield. And with the way that Battlefield and Call of Duty seem to be going, they might just have an easier time competing.
Fight the good fight in Command & Conquer.
The third franchise on this list is Command & Conquer. It is a legendary real-time strategy franchise known for its innovative gameplay, memorable factions, and cinematic storytelling. The original game released in 1995, and its sequels such as Red Alert in 1996 and Tiberian Sun in 1999 were genre-defying hits. Titles like Command & Conquer 3 Tiberian Wars in 2007 and Red Alert 3 in 2008 continued the tradition of excellence. The franchise took one massive leap off a cliff with Command & Conquer 4 Tiberian Twilight in 2010, which abandoned the core RTS mechanics for a more simplified approach. The game received mostly negative reviews and was a complete commercial failure. After that disaster, a free-to-play reboot was supposed to be released, but it was cancelled in 2013, and EA decided to leave the franchise behind. But that's what EA tends to do: milk a franchise of all its possible money, make one wrong mistake that's a complete disaster, and then leave the franchise for dead. The release of Command & Conquer Remastered Collection in 2020 rekindled interest in the series, proving there's still a passionate fan base. However, without new entries, the franchise remains dormant.
I am Sam Fisher. I am a Splinter Cell.
Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell.
The fourth franchise on this list was Ubisoft's Splinter Cell, which was a hallmark of stealth action games, offering players a chance to step into the boots of Sam Fisher, a highly skilled operative working for the covert NSA division known as Third Echelon. The series stood out for its emphasis on realism, shadow-based stealth mechanics, and level design. When the original Splinter Cell released in 2002, it set new standards for stealth games, featuring groundbreaking lighting and sound design. Players had to manipulate shadows and use gadgets to outsmart enemies. The franchise peaked with Splinter Cell Chaos Theory in 2005, which refined every aspect of the series with its open-ended level design, co-op multiplayer, and an unforgettable soundtrack. Each entry delved deeper into Sam Fisher's psyche. After Blacklist released in 2013, which received critical acclaim, good reviews, but underwhelming sales, Ubisoft then shifted focus to open world games like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. Sam Fisher has made appearances in games like Ghost Recon Wildlands and Rainbow Six Siege, which keep the character alive, but fans continue to want a full-fledged revival, which they might just get since the remake was confirmed of the original Splinter Cell game, which promises to modernize the experience while staying true to its roots, offering hope that Splinter Cell can once again dominate the stealth game genre.
Socom, Navy SEALs.
The fifth franchise on this list is Socom, which was one of the first franchises to bring tactical military realism to consoles. Focusing on teamwork, strategic planning, and authentic military operations, it emphasized slower gameplay over run-and-gun action, making it a favorite among players who valued strategy and coordination. Socom, first releasing in 2002 on the PlayStation 2, Socom was a trailblazer in online multiplayer gaming. It was the first game to use a USB headset for voice commands and team communication on the PlayStation 2, which set it apart from other shooters. Titles like Socom 2 released in 2003, and it expanded on its formula with better maps, refined mechanics, and a thriving online community. Unfortunately though, in 2011 with the release of Socom 4, the franchise struggled to do what a lot of franchises struggle with, and that is keeping true to itself. Unfortunately, it attempted to appeal to a broader audience by simplifying the gameplay and focusing more on action, something akin to Battlefield or Call of Duty, losing the tactical depth that fans liked about the franchise. And unfortunately, that's all it took to kill the franchise. One really terrible entry in the franchise killed the entire thing, and it made PlayStation Network close Zipper Interactive, which marked the end of the series. Despite its decline, Socom remains a cherished memory for a lot of gamers. And the rise of tactical shooters like Squad or Hell Let Loose, I think those games prove that Socom could come back and do really well, especially if it stays true to its roots.
Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock.
The sixth franchise on this list is Guitar Hero, which was a cultural phenomenon. It brought rhythm games to the masses. Its plastic instruments and addictive gameplay turned living rooms into concert stages, allowing players to perform iconic rock anthems. The series began in 2005 and exploded in popularity with Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock in 2007, which featured a killer track list, challenging gameplay, and memorable boss battles. The franchise became a social experience with multiplayer modes and full band gameplay introduced in later iterations like Guitar Hero World Tour in 2008. Unfortunately, oversaturation and diminishing innovation led to the series' decline. Between Guitar Hero Rock Band and other rhythm games, the market became overcrowded. Guitar Hero Live in 2015 attempted to reboot the series with a live-action presentation and a subscription-based song library, but it failed to capture the magic of its predecessors. Even years after its peak though, Guitar Hero remains synonymous with rhythm games. A revival with modern technology such as VR or motion controls could revive the franchise, and the continued success of rhythm-based games like Beat Saber proves there's still a market for this genre.
Max Payne.
The 7th franchise on this list is Max Payne. It's a noir-inspired third-person shooter known for its dark, gripping narrative, cinematic presentation, and of course its revolutionary bullet time mechanics. The original Max Payne released in 2001, combining a tragic story of revenge with innovative gameplay. The game's graphic novel-style cutscenes and gritty atmosphere set it apart. Its sequel, Max Payne 2: The Fall of Max Payne in 2003, refined the formula with improved graphics, deeper storytelling, and tighter gameplay. While Max Payne 3 in 2012 received good reviews for its polished gameplay and emotional narrative, despite its quality, the game didn't achieve commercial success Rockstar Games hoped for. And then with the success of Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar Games quietly shelved the series. Remakes of the first two games are supposedly in development right now, which will offer a chance for a new generation to experience Max's story. And it will also allow Max Payne fans who have already played the games to experience the games again, but with better graphics. The 8th franchise on this list is Burnout, which is a arcade racing series celebrated for its high-speed thrills, over-the-top crashes, and adrenaline-pumping gameplay. The franchise really hit its stride with Burnout 3 Takedown in 2004, which introduced the takedown mechanic, allowing players to slam opponents off the road. And it was also the game that introduced me to the franchise, and I remember playing the game a lot just for the crashes. I used to crash into everything just because I thought it looked cool. Burnout Paradise in 2008 expanded the formula with an open world setting, offering endless opportunities for exploration and chaos. But after Burnout Paradise, EA shifted focus to the Need for Speed franchise, leaving Burnout in the dust. The Burnout Paradise Remastered released in 2018, which rekindled nostalgia, but fans are still waiting for a true sequel. A modern Burnout could take advantage of today's hardware to deliver even more spectacular crashes and expansive worlds. Bringing the Burnout franchise back would take some time and some effort, and that's just something that EA doesn't really like to do. I mean, it's kind of in their name, early access games.
Are you gonna keep yapping, or are you gonna help me out of this mess?
The 9th franchise on this list is Jak And Daxter, which was a well-liked platformer series that blended vibrant worlds, witty humor, and engaging gameplay. It evolved from a lighthearted platformer to a more mature story-driven experience. The first game, Jak And Daxter: The Precursor Legacy, released in 2001, introduced players to a colorful world filled with puzzles, collectibles, and platforming challenges. Jak 2 in 2003 and Jak 3 in 2004 added open world elements, vehicles, and darker narratives, showcasing Naughty Dog's ability to innovate. Unfortunately, the fall of Jak and Daxter started with Jak X Combat Racing in 2005. Which then, after that game, Naughty Dog decided to shift focus to Uncharted and later The Last of Us. There were some more Jak and Daxter games developed by other studios, but they failed to capture the magic of the original trilogy, leaving the series dormant. With the resurgence of platformers like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, a Jak and Daxter revival feels more plausible than ever. Fans continue to hope for a return to the franchise roots, blending classic platforming with modern technology. And with Naughty Dog's most recent announcement, one has to wonder if they would have been better off just sticking with Jak and Daxter.
A brand new world of new friends and adventure. It's Banjo Kazooie for your Nintendo 64.
The last but not least franchise on this list is Banjo Kazooie, which was a standout 3D platformer on the Nintendo 64, known for its charming characters, clever level design, and whimsical humor. Players controlled Banjo the bear and Kazooie the bird as they explored colorful worlds. The original Banjo Kazooie released in 1998 and its sequel Banjo Tooie in 2000. Both games were critically acclaimed for their inventive gameplay and memorable music. Unfortunately, after Microsoft acquired Rare in 2002, the series stagnated. Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was then released in 2008, which deviated from the traditional platforming by focusing on vehicle creation. Alienating longtime fans, the franchise has been dormant ever since. Banjo and Kazooie's inclusion in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate reignited interest in the series. A proper sequel or remake that stays true to the originals could capitalize on the nostalgia of older fans while introducing the duo to a new generation. So with all that said, make sure to hit that like button if you liked the video. Leave a comment below, tell me some game franchises that you think need to be revived, and tell me what you think about this video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because you want to be subscribed, and I'll see you next time.